Hello, everybody. Dr. Nick here with a brand new PSA for you, public sexual announcement for February the 9th, 2022. And if you didn't hear about this, last week there was an interview that pretty much broke the internet between Kevin Samuels, who is an image consultant and a life coach, and Nicki Minaj, who is a international pop star and a rapper. And she has some pretty interesting thoughts about sexuality, sexual health, and especially on female sexuality. And overall, it was a pretty nice conversation. So here's just a snip of that entire interview, but she begins this conversation with a question for Mr. Samuels.
Okay, Kevin. So since we no, we got to get down to the business chat.
Go ahead.
Now, do you think a man can have sex 3 times a night for the rest of his life?
Most guys can't.
They can't.
Not for the rest of his life, no.
Well, how many times they gonna be able to do it?
That's how much he's working. Depends on how much he's working. That's why I say it's different on.
But wait, listen, no. Listen, hold on. How many times should a man expect to have sex? What is, in your opinion, how many times should a woman give their man sex a week?
A week? I'm a fan of the as often as he wants it.
No, hold on.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. You look at, like I said, I look at guys, most guys I'm talking to are working 10, 12-hour days. Bernie Mac said it, I'm going to come home and get you 50 strokes. You count them if you ain't got time. Most dudes trying to walk around like they porn stars. Look at, man, get good at foreplay, eat some pussy, and you get on. Because we don't have all that time. We get old, our back hurt, our hips out.
Oh, no.
When you get older, but I think a healthy sex life 2 to 3 times a week is what most people are doing.
So right here, I definitely do agree with Kevin Samuels because male sexuality changes over time, especially as we age, which is why I have been promoting selfless sex, which is a way for you to be sexually active well into old age. And my question is for the ladies, if you got a good dude, he's out there working hard, he's out there doing his thing, what are your thoughts about giving him as much sex as he needs? And finally, in the second snippet, Nicki Minaj actually says something pretty interesting about female sexuality, something that was said to her. So have a quick listen.
You know, a lot of people throughout my life would tell me that I'm like a man. Because I remember people would tell me I shouldn't expect as a woman to have a climax every time I do it, right? Like Hilton. And I said, excuse me, are you out of your fucking mind? Why wouldn't I want to climax every time I have intercourse? Just like you want to climax when you have intercourse. And I was accused of being like a man. Not in my, this is years ago. And I knew that wasn't going to work, child. Because, it's not only about you.
Well,
You think about that.
Well, so when I go to LA, I'll be talking to sexologists. Shamu Dream. There's a lot that men don't understand about sexuality. Most guys, you ask them what the Kama Sutra is, they don't know what it is. They don't know anything about tantric sex. They don't even know that. You couldn't even show them the anatomy of a vagina. They can understand the parts. Just weren't taught. So, if you know what you're doing, you should have as much orgasm. You should. You're multi-orgasmic. You can have more than we can.
That's right.
So there are several things I want to mention here. First is a question, and it's why shouldn't women expect to orgasm every time during sexual activity, regardless of what that sexual activity is? And additionally, Mr. Samuels is right once again. where men actually do lack the sexual knowledge they need to satisfy their women and to bring the women to orgasm. And which is one of the main reasons why this podcast exists. So if you take everything together, whereas men get the sexual activity they need to be satisfied, and the women are able to have orgasms every time they are engaged in sexual activity, theoretically, that would mean the orgasm gap would go away, right? Because don't forget, I've been talking about the orgasm gap for years on this podcast, and depending on which study you read, it's 90% for men and like 30% to 45% for women when it comes to two-partner sex and orgasm. So if everyone's getting what they need, sexual health would actually be a lot better, and the sexual pleasure for everybody should increase, right? So in closing, I just want to say thank you for listening to this PSA Public Sexual Announcement podcast. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. And on that note, I'm out. You guys be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.